Everything looks good. Mayor Beagle, the meeting is yours. Let me know if you need anything.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the regular scheduled City Council meeting of February 23rd, 2021. It is a virtual Zoom meeting. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Beagle,
Here from Wixom, Michigan, Oakland County.
Deputy Mayor Resnick,
I'm present, attending remotely from Wixom, Oakland County, Michigan.
Councilmember Behrman,
Present in the city of Wixom, Oakland County, Michigan.
Councilmember Gacho,
Present from Wixom, Oakland County, Michigan.
Councilmember Grenlund Fox,
Present from the city of Wixom, Oakland County, state of Michigan.
Councilmember Sharp,
Present from the city of Wixom, Oakland County, Michigan.
Councilmember Smiley,
Here, good evening. I'm attending remotely from my home in Wixom, Michigan, Oakland County.
quorum present.
Thank you. Changes or additions to the agenda tonight is presented. Do we have any from city manager?
Mayor, I have no changes or additions to the agenda for this evening.
Any from council? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. The first item of business tonight is a public hearing. Before I open the public hearing, I'll read the rules to the public hearing, and they are as follows. A person wishing to address the council shall state their name and address. Individual persons shall be allowed 5 minutes to address the council. Shall be no questioning by the audience of persons addressing the council. However, the council members may question persons addressing the council, and no person shall be allowed to address the council more than once. And with that, I will open up the public hearing, which is scheduled. It's a public hearing to solicit the community input regarding the utilization of the 2021 Community Development Block Grant, or the CBDB program allocation. Federal regulations concerning the utilization of Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG funds, require a public hearing to be held to solicit comments, recommendations, and requests from individuals, groups, and organizations who seek to influence how these funds will be used, or who request funding for the stated purposes. And with that, I'll turn it over to Deanna McGee for any further information, and then we'll open up for questions.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know the Block Grant program, it basically provides funds for the purpose of renovating older homes, revitalizing neighborhoods, providing human services, and rebuilding community infrastructure that benefits the low to moderate income residents. Qualified projects must be located in the census tracts, of which Wixom has 2, which are all located south of Pontiac Trail. As the mayor indicated, it does require a public hearing to solicit input from agencies or groups that are interested in funding. The allocation projected for 2021 program year is $51,165, and of that, a maximum of 30% can only go to public services. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Do we have anybody wishing to address the council tonight on in this public hearing?
Hi, I'm from Haven. So I'm trying to connect to the Zoom meeting, but I'm currently on call. So I'm waiting for the host to start the webinar. So I'm not sure if I have to join there or I can continue talking here, because I'm representing Haven and I'm here to talk about the Community Block Grant Program.
Okay, hey, Rab, should I read the raising the hand issue and then you'll call from there?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. The procedure for public comment by electric means is once connected to the meeting. Members of the public wishing to participate in the virtual public comment must alert us that they wish to speak to us by pressing *9 on your telephone keypad. By pressing *9, it'll activate the raised hand feature, signaling to us that you wish to comment. Participants will be called on one at a time, as it would happen in an in-person meeting. And when you're unmuted, please introduce yourselves by stating your name, address for the record, and then you'll have your 5 minutes to state your comments.
It looks like phone caller with the last four digits 3025 has raised their hand first. Press *6 to unmute yourself and address the council.
I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Hi, Council. This is Kathy Wormsbacher from Western Oakland Meals on Wheels. Our main office is located at 9525 East Highland Road in Howell, Michigan. I'm here tonight for the grant program allocation for the seniors. We take pride in that we have serviced all of our seniors through COVID. We've never shut down once. We serve about 60 clients in the Wixom area, which is approximately 11,500 meals per year. We use the grant funding to go 100% to our seniors. We have no wait list. With the funding, we offer frozen meals for the weekend. We offer breakfast 3 times a week at no charge. And we also, with the funds, can help send out shelf-stable meals. And then Meals on Wheels is more than just a meal for our seniors. It's a friendly face, checking in on them daily to make sure that they're okay. Thank you for your consideration and your time.
It looks like phone caller with the last four digits 3734 raise their hand next. Press *6 to unmute yourself and go ahead and address the council.
Good evening. My name is Vicki Kennedy. I'm calling in tonight from Kegel Harbor. I'm representing Common Ground. First of all, I want to thank you guys for all your past support. And I'm here to, again, ask for your continued support. This past year, when COVID hit, we were triple on our crisis chat and text lines. It was a powerful statement for us to know that we needed to change. We stepped up. We continue to serve the community. We aided in a new phone system. We are now accessing and handling everything remotely, keeping our staff and volunteers safe. As an essential service and healthcare provider, we didn't shut down. Our emergency units stepped up and followed all protocol, and we've kept everyone safe, and we're trying to get everyone through this safely. So we would really appreciate your continued support.
Thank you. Any other
No,
hands
thank
raised?
you.
Yes, call-in user 2 has raised their hand. Press *6 to unmute yourself and go ahead and address the council.
Hi, thank you for this opportunity. I'm representing Haven. So as you know, Haven is a volunteer organization which has been dedicated
Can you
to
please
building.
can you please state your name for us, please?
My name is Daya, Dhaya, Daya, and I'm representing Haven. So Haven is a volunteer organization which has been dedicated to building violence-free communities wherever everyone can live without fear. Haven maintains a 24-hour emergency shelter exclusively for domestic violence victims and their children and sexual assault survivors who are afraid to stay in their own homes. So as you know, we also offer counseling and education that help families stop violence, begin the process of healing, create a hope that will create a future that will be free from abuse for them. An agency steps out into the community over the phone, in the courtrooms, police stations, hospitals, schools, workplace, and community meetings to provide crisis intervention and education to help victims and families to prevent violence in future generations. So we do a lot of comprehensive work. We serve to break the silence and that has kept the crimes of domestic violence and sexual assault behind the closed doors. So this has only served to allow crimes to flourish. So from July 1, 2019 through June 30, 2020, 20 individuals utilized our program services. And all their families are helped through it. And families in the city of Wixom who took the first step to break their own silence by contacting Haven. So our agency is again reaching out to you for support of our work with an even greater need as we assume the burden of increased and additional staff to maintain these vital services. So we ask you to continue to support these families through a community development block grant of $5,000 for the fiscal year 2020-2021. Please remember that the federal government presumes that domestic violence victims are considered to be low income and therefore qualify for inclusion in block grant public service requests. So we look forward for the opportunity to meet with you this year to provide a lot of information that you may want. We would, if you would like to speak, you can reach out to Haven at 248-334 and 1284, and you can press an extension 319 to contact our executive assistant, Patricia. She'll give you more details about it, and it would be great if you can grant this for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Call in. Yes, one more at this point. Call in user 3 has their hand raised. Press *6 to unmute yourself and go ahead and address the council.
Good evening.
Go ahead.
I believe I'm unmuted at this time.
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
Good evening. George Robinson, residence is 2043 Lamella, Wixom. I'm here on behalf of St. Vincent de Paul. Our conference provides services to families and individuals who find themselves generally in the need of financial help. We provide vital assistance to those that may find themselves in a situation of eviction, utility shutoff, food assistance, and homelessness. We're expecting in the near future a surge of requests for assistance. So your help would be greatly appreciated. Last year, we had 277 visits in the Walled Lake School District area. We helped 323 people in personal visits and porch visits and outdoor visits, any way we could get together. We provided for food, furniture, clothing. Our members put in 1,637 hours. Estimated miles were 4,600. We spent $53,000 in housing and rent, $12,000 in utilities, $1,100 in clothing and furniture, $7,000 in car repairs and gas, $343 in medical. And in Wixom, we helped 15 individual families, 37 people, utility help of over $1,000, and rent somewhere in the area of $9,684. We also sponsor a utility grant that we team up with local assistance programs to help in the utility area. Any help that you can provide, it greatly appreciated. Thank you. You all look pretty good.
Thank you.
No one else has their hand raised at this point, but a reminder, press *9 to raise your hand to address the council.
We do have one.
Oh, here we go. Another,
Rob?
yes, thank you, Tim. Call in user 1, press *6 to unmute yourself and go ahead and address the council. Again, call in user 1, press *6 on your phone. There you go. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Donovan Neal. I am the Executive Director for the Hospitality House Food Pantry in Commerce, Michigan. I live in 1299 Penarth Street in Commerce, Michigan. First of all, I want to thank the council for the opportunity to speak before you publicly. We are requesting the assistance of the council, specifically in an ask of $5,000 to assist with the continued feeding of individuals from the city of Wixom. This need is particularly acute due to the impact, of course, of COVID-19. Specifically because of COVID-19, Hospitality House has given out more food in our 20-year history than at any other time. We have given well over 500,000 pounds of food this past year. Wixom residents in particular comprised over 1,000 households and received over almost 100,000 pounds of that food. We have remained open while some of our peers have struggled with reduction of hours or in some cases have closed entirely. But we have stayed open. We have implemented safety protocols that have kept our clients and our volunteers safe and have been acknowledged as a safe site for the distribution of food and for individuals to volunteer and work. And we've done this despite COVID-19's impact on event-based fundraising, which most nonprofits realistically rely on crucially to acquire funds for their operations. So COVID-19, of course, has hobbled us in that regard. And so we are increasingly reliant on grant funding to maintain our operations. This past year, we've launched our emergency car repair program and assisted families in getting their cars repaired. We've actually spent over $5,000 this year for the first time in providing direct financial services to residents for utility assistance. And we're hoping this year we can rely on your support to help us maintain the services, not just to, of course, to the Lakes area in general, but specifically to the Wixom residents that we have been serving. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll give it a moment to see if anybody else raises their hand. Again, a reminder, press star nine on your phone to raise your hand. We'll give it just a moment. No one else has their hand raised at this point.
All right, seeing no more audience participation, I will close the public hearing and move on to next item, which is approval of minutes. We have one set of minutes to approve tonight. And that is from the regular city council meeting, February 9th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. Do we have any additions, corrections, deletions? Seeing none, I got a motion and a second to approve the regular city council meeting minutes of February 9th, 2021. Roll call vote, please.
Deputy Mayor Resnick,
Yes.
Councilmember Behrman,
Yes.
Councilmember Gotcho,
Yes.
Councilmember Grenlin Fox,
Yes.
Councilmember Sharp,
Aye.
Councilmember Smiley,
Yes.
Mayor Beagle,
Yes.
7 yes.
Thank you. One item of correspondence tonight is that is a notice of hearing for the gas customers of Consumers Energy Company, case number U-20671. And that brings us to the first call to the public. First call to the public is limited to 5 minutes per speaker, addressing agenda items only. And the rules to the public are as follows. The public shall address the council during the call to the public, which shall be included on the agenda immediately after correspondence. And again, immediately after new business. The first call to the public immediately after correspondence shall be limited to agenda items only. A person shall not address the council in excess of 5 minutes unless the time is extended by a majority vote of the council present. Persons wishing to address the council tonight shall identify themselves and their place of residence and state their reasoning for addressing the council. All comments by the public shall be made directly to the council. And again, this is the procedure for a public comment by electronic means is once connected to the meeting. Members of the public wishing to participate in a virtual public comment must alert us that they wish to speak by pressing *9 on their telephone keypad. By pressing *9, it'll activate the raised hand feature, signaling to us that you wish to comment. Participants will be called one at a time, as would happen in an in-person meeting. And when you're unmuted, please introduce yourself by stating your name, address for the record, and you will then have 5 minutes to share your comments. Do we have anybody for the first call to the public?
We'll give it a moment to see if anybody raises their hand. Again, a reminder, press star 9 on your phone to raise your hand. We'll wait just one moment. No one has raised their hand.
Very good. I'll close the first call to the public and move on to the city manager's report, departmental reports of January 2021. Any questions? Councilmember Smiley.
Oh, Marty, I'm here. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Brown, I usually like to catch you ahead of time and, when I find some question about items on here, but if you can answer it now, that's great. If not, I can wait, but it's about the safety path. I saw that the project will continue this summer. I'm just curious, will sidewalks be complete shortly after that? And I think the millage for it ends in 2022, next year. And generally, I just kind of like an update on where we're at in the grand scheme of the safety path. Is now a good time for that, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I would defer to Tim to see if Tim has any comment on it or
sure.
Mike Darga. So.
Sure. Actually, Mike and I had talked about that a little bit today. We are trying to acquire a couple of additional easements along Wixom Road, and we hope to get bids out for review by contractors for the sidewalk and pathways north of Potter along Wixom Road. And we had bid them out last fall, and they were significantly higher than we had anticipated. So we thought that bringing it before contractors early spring was a better timing for it, and we expect to get better pricing now than we had seen earlier in last fall. So we are planning to start construction in early spring for that.
Great, and the big picture on the safety path, getting the sidewalks done. Are we on pace, I guess, to get it done in the time we have been planning?
We are on pace for the north area, and the next section that we would do would be south of Pontiac Trail, and we are looking at easements, or looking at acquiring some easements there too from businesses. And also we've been concentrating kind of on the airline trail recently, just making sure that all of that has gone without a hitch so that we can apply for our TAP grants, and we'll talk about that later tonight.
Right. Okay. Has the airline trail delayed or slowed down the getting of the completion of the sidewalks?
Not our sidewalks. It's primarily easements and just getting the right prices from our contractors.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's an important thing to take your time on.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. And just is it 2022 that the millage for the safety path runs out?
I believe so. We would hope to go before the public with a vote in 2022. I think it actually runs out at the end of 22-23 fiscal year.
Okay. Oh, so we're gonna need.
I think we got a year and a half yet.
To extend or add to that millage.
Correct. That's our goal.
That'll be necessary. Okay. Okay. That'll do for now. Thank you.
You bet.
Anybody else with questions? Deputy Mayor Resnick?
Thank you, Mayor. Tim, while you're on the on the screen here, the Fats, Oil, and Greases report shows the schedule for 2021.
Yes.
restaurants. Is it the intention to sample all of the restaurants within Wixom? I noticed some past violators were not on the list this year, and I was just curious.
It isn't intended to, throughout the year, sample. We won't be sampling each one or each violator every quarter. It'll depend on the areas that we're targeting, primarily for fat, oil, and grease that we've had trouble with in the past. But then also we'll concentrate on violators of our previous our ordinance. So we're working kind of a twofold thing there with that. So initially we intend to at least sample once a year, and if there are problem areas, we'll sample them on even up to a quarterly basis, just to make sure that they abide by the rules, if you will.
It's not the intention to get 100% of all of our restaurants within the city limits then in a calendar year.
We hope to do each one annually, I believe, on a calendar year based on the need. So in certain areas, I'm thinking along Grand River and along Pontiac Trail, those are two primary areas that we're concentrating on because we've seen trouble there in those locations in the past. And we have, our sewer cleaners recognize some of those areas quickly, and we have those on problem cleaning areas, and those are the ones that we're really concentrating on because the other ones do not pose a significant potential, if you will, for a blockage, and that's really what we're getting after.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks. I'm just going to piggyback on that for a second, and then I'll go to you, Councilmember Gacho. I see here that in November, we have General RV scheduled twice, and then in February, we have Culver's twice and McDonald's twice. Why are we looking at General RV for like motor oils and stuff like that, or?
There is a sand and oil interceptor there, yes.
Okay,
that's what we would.
Okay,
yes.
so it's there. It's not necessarily there now, but that's where the interceptor's at.
Right, and they do a significant amount of washing, and
okay.
Not only the fats, oil, and grease, but the sand has a potential. So if they're not cleaning that, we'll have trouble with sewer backups in that area too.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Gacho.
Thank you. I think it's just something I mentioned at one of the recent previous meetings regarding the water wastewater report and adding back in the complaints we are receiving. I see it says on the grid that we did have 3 complaints, but I don't see it listed anywhere what those were. So again, if we can please add that back in, I would appreciate it.
Yes, they are keeping track of that, and we'll get that spreadsheet at the end of the report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else with questions on the city manager's report for January 2021? Seeing none, we'll move on. We have no items under the consent agenda tonight. We have no unfinished business. So we'll move on to the first item of new business, which is a recommendation to authorize the submittal of the 2021 Community Development Block Grant Program allocation in the amount of $51,165, with $5,000 to Haven, $5,000 to emergency services, $5,000 to seniors, and $36,165 to Civic Center home improvements. A motion?
So moved.
Support.
We're good. Deanna, do you have anything else you want to add to this, or?
The only thing I'd like to add is I think every year it's always a dilemma because I do believe City Council wants to support all these public agencies, and they're all very worthy. And what we've tried to do in the past years is rotate some of the emergency services and the senior services with disabilities. So just so council's aware, we're trying to even out what we can do. That's all.
Yep, we appreciate that. Yep, and like Deanna said, we would love to grant everybody's wish on this, but our hands are tied on this, on how we can do it. And so we do the best that we can do. Any questions from council? Councilmember Gacho?
Thank you. Kind of along those lines, I really cannot overstate how much I dislike the current process that the federal government goes through in terms of essentially hamstringing how we allocate these funds. Looking at the table 4 proposed allocations, and Hospitality House has no allocated funds from any of our local cities this year, and I'm not sure if those numbers might get filled in later once these other cities meet, or if they've already made those decisions. But you think about the crisis we've been having for the last 12 months and the food reliability issues, and we've had Forgotten Harvest in the city of Wixom passing out food every few weeks and running out the first time they were here, and just so many people off of work. And you got to think about where food comes from, unfortunately, for a lot of people right now. And it's just sad that because we can't give to multiple groups within the same classification, that Hospitality House isn't in our current funding swing. I'm not advocating that we deviate from it, because St. Vincent de Paul also performs a function, but it really is just nonsensical, the current rules. I'm not sure who we would even advocate changes to, but I mean, it makes no sense to me at all. Looking further at the other allocations, though, bringing up the City Hall campus walking path again, and seeing that we're talking about allocating multiples of what we're donating to other groups to that. Then we have another 6 figures in CDBG funds, and then we're still talking about bringing money out of the general fund for 63,000. I'm not in favor of that walking path. I haven't been from the beginning. I fear that if this is put into there right now, that when this comes up for discussion later, somebody's inevitably going to say, well, you already voted and approved this during CDBG, and we talked about it during budget. And I don't know anybody else's feelings on the walking path trail, but I'm not in favor of that. I don't think it's a good use of funds. We get these funds because people are below the poverty line, and I really don't see the direct trade-off for improving those folks' lives with a walking path around City Hall campus. So I'm on the fence right now on this vote.
Very good. Councilmember Smiley, then we'll go to Councilwoman Gwendolyn Fox.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. I pretty much had the exact same issue with that Councilman Gotchel has, having to do with the committing the Civic Center improvements to being that pathway. I'm not convinced that that's a good use of it as well. I don't think I have a problem with new business 1 tonight, as long as the Civic Center improvement funds aren't, you're locked in to that particular usage of those funds. As long as it's something we'll be working on discussing later, it shouldn't be a problem with it, new business 1. But I guess I'd like some clarification as to whether we are locking ourselves into the pathway, with this vote tonight.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but at this year's budget session, didn't we have a discussion about that? And we closed the discussion, and we didn't approve those funds for that walking path at that time. So we have that option, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right. That's what I figure. We're okay to set this money towards Civic Center improvements, but seeing that for the safety or for a walking path, I'd still like to discuss that a lot more. Than I just don't want it to be like same thing. Councilman Gotchel was saying. I don't want us to think because we voted for it here that's what we're doing. We still get to talk about it. and that's fine with, and that's all I need to know.
Yeah, I believe that's how it'll work. Either Deanna or City Manager Brown, if you want to chime in, but I believe that it's a discussion and we vote on whether we use that money to do that or not.
Good, okay. I guess I just want to clarify it, or it's been clarified by me, by Councilman Gotchel. I think we're okay.
All right. Councilmember Grenland Fox.
Thank you. I agree with the two previous speakers, and I had the same question. I didn't think that we had passed that walking path. So when I saw it, I was confused as far as how that was going to work. If it doesn't go, if that 63,000 does not go for that, that just goes right back into the general fund, correct?
Correct. This is just a grant allocation. If the city council decides not to move forward with this project, we would come back to city council with a reprogramming report, meaning we would reprogram the funds to a different aspect, if that was the case.
Okay, thank you, Deanna. And there is no way to take portions of that and put it towards some of these other organizations?
No. Definitely not. It's totally capped. There's a lot of rules involved with the CDGB, and you can only do 30% of your maximum allocation, and it can only go to 4 projects. So you're really confined. I think a lot of organizations would love to fund some of these public services more if they could. But as Mr. Gotchel indicated, the rules from HUD are pretty solid, and we have to follow them.
Yeah. Crazy. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Berman.
The only thing I will add is it's nice to see that we historically rotate back and forth between the two organizations that unfortunately aren't listed this year, but they were funded last year. So it's not that we're necessarily forgetting them. Our hands are tied. And although we're funding a different organization this year, historically speaking, next year, they'll be on the list and the other one will not.
Correct.
So, I mean, with that, I do support this resolution, and I do appreciate how you laid this out for us, and you showed, you know, what we funded to, you know, Hospitality House in 2 prior years, and what we funded to the other organization that unfortunately is not on the list this evening. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anybody else to comment? Questions? Councilmember Gotchel.
Thank you. I guess just tying back into your reprogramming thought, Deanna, if we, since we're allocating 2 civic center improvements tonight, if we reprogram, does it still have to be within that same kind of umbrella of we have to do a project at the civic center, or can we do anything within the rule, any project within the rules south of Pontiac Trail?
You need to stay within the census tracts. That's why when we evaluated projects, that's why the walking path was chosen. Is it fit within the community tie-in to the Michigan Airline Trail, as well as the tie-in to finishing the bike paths with the city, as well as having one key component when we did apply for the walking path was before that the apartments are right next to City Hall. And that was a big component in them approving this project.
But we're not necessarily restricted to just spending these funds at Civic Center if there was another project that was found, as long as it's within the census tracts.
Programmed, but we would need to do that after discussions in the budget if you wanted to do that. There's a 2-to-1 ratio. There's a ratio that we need to spend these funds in a certain amount of time. So we're looking at the 2019 funds will need to be spent pretty soon, which could have been spent on bids and specifications if they go that direction, or we can reprogram it anytime.
We have 3 years before there's a clawback essentially, or a give
They
back.
like 2, but they're making an exception on this project because the CDGB people like this project.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Councilmember Smiley.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I understood Ms. McGee. Hello, Deanna.
Hi.
The CDBG likes that we are thinking about doing a pathway.
Every year, whenever we choose a project, I need to propose the project through the planners at the CDGB offices. They review the projects. There were several pieces of information that went into this project. And the one part they really like about it is the fact of its service population being south of Pontiac Trail and next to the apartments.
Huh. And do I understand it correctly? They've given us a little extra time to use the funds?
Usually you have to use it in 2 years, but I had to write a report on why we would need the 3-year funding so that we wouldn't be taking as much money from the general fund and that we would be utilizing more grant funds.
Okay. I guess we should, if there's a time bomb on those funds, we should discuss it soon. Especially if we're not using that 3rd year for what they think we were going to use it for.
Correct.
Right? Got all that clearly? Okay. All right. Well, that's something for us to do soon then. That's all for now.
Yeah, we'll be starting our budget hearing meetings, the hourly meetings before a meeting to go over budget items soon, and I'm sure that'll be a topping of it. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, I got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to authorize the submittal of the 2021 Community Development Block Grant Program allocation in the amount of $51,165, with $5,000 to Haven, $5,000 to Emergency Services, $5,000 to seniors, and $36,165 to Civic Center improvements. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Behrman,
Yes.
Councilmember Gotcha,
Yes.
Councilmember Brendan Fox,
Yes.
Councilmember Sharp,
Aye.
Councilmember Smiley,
Yes.
Mayor Beagle,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Resnick.
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you. We're moving on to new business number 2. It's a recommendation to approve the resolution expressing support for the grant application in partnership with the Charter Township of Milford to the Transportation Alternatives Program of the Michigan Department of Transportation for funding of the development of Phase 2 of the Michigan Airline Trail and the Huron Valley Trail. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. City Manager Brown, do you want to take over, or should we hand this off to Mr. Hensler?
I'll do a quick overview of where we're at here. So we all are pretty aware of the Michigan Airline Trail success story that we had with Phase 1 being completed. We're on to Phase 2, and as part of Phase 2, there's an application that we're making for TAP grant funding. And we're looking for the mayor and council to pass the resolution of support that's before you tonight to express that the city supports the concept of applying for $1.68 million from the TAP funds, which is going to require 60% match for the city of Wixom and a 40% match for Milford Township, which equates to the dollars that are reflected in your report this evening of $413,668 for Wixom and $276,667 for Milford Township. Those are all general numbers. Make sure we keep that in mind. We don't know exactly what the costs are going to turn out to be, but that's the projection of the costs that we have currently. And we're in the middle of a design process that is underway to develop how we're going to go through and work through and develop Phase 2 of the trail. And I don't want to steal any thunder more than I might have already from Kristen Wiltfang from Oakland County and John Hensler, our manager of the Michigan Airline Trail, who I've asked to come here tonight, make a presentation to mayor and council about the current status of our project, and then what's in the future here and what the resolution of support would mean tonight. The only other thing that I'll say quickly is that Milford Township has passed their own resolution of support that just happened at their February 19th meeting, I believe. The Trailway Council itself also just authorized a submission of a document to move along with the process as well. This is one of the last items of action to take place. If we get this taken care of, we can move forward with the application for the TAP grant. So with that, unless anybody has any questions for me, I'm going to pass it along to Kristen and to John.
Hi, everybody. It's great to see everyone. Thanks for letting us present a little update on the trail and a little bit about what's going on with our phase 2 TAP grant application. I'm going to share my screen here for a second and show you a couple slides. Kind of walk you through a couple of just a couple things. Everybody see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. So a little overview here. Phase 1, which we're just about to wrap up, Wixom Road to Haggerty. You can see that on the map there. And then phase 2 is specifically from Wixom Road to Old Plank Road. Actually, half of that property is going to be called the property west of the Wixom border will technically still be called the Huron Valley Trail when that gets built. So, but our section, the section that we're talking about tonight is in Wixom, is the section from Wixom Road, right where the current trail ends, taking a route through downtown there in front of Country Corners, over to Corex, where we already have an easement, going up to the historic rail bed, and then taking that all the way over to Old Plank Road. So that's where we are. That'll be then the connection then will be complete from the West Bloomfield Trail to the Huron Valley Trail. And right now, there is a temporary route that you can take along Pontiac Trail, going on the south side of Pontiac Trail, going in front of Lion Oaks County Park and all that stuff, over to Old Plank and the north end Old Plank to hook up with the Huron Valley Trail. But it's going to be great to get this next part complete. Once again, here's a map of what we've done so far in phase 1. If anybody's been out on the trail on a nice day, and even not a nice day during the summer or whenever, you see the trail has just been a huge success. Tons and tons of users. We couldn't be happier. We have a pretty thriving friends group as well. They're helping to help us with volunteer events and trail cleanup days and things like that. So we're really happy with how the trail is progressing. This is a little bit of a close-up map on the actual limits of the project. You can see that going through downtown, it's kind of a little notch downtown. For those of you who might be wondering why we're not crossing the railroad directly, we directly in a mid-block crossing there, kind of behind the Country Corners thing. We asked the railroad. Well, we asked. We had some MDOT advocates ask. We made some requests, and we got turned down from the railroad every time. So they really want us to cross at the crossing where there is a pedestrian crossing now at Wixom and Pontiac Trail there. This is a little bit more information than you probably need, but it's just some of the parcels and the sections there that we're talking about 2.5 miles total. So again, we're part of the Great Lakes Lake Trail. The trail's about 70% done now. I'd say maybe 72% done. Other sections keep coming online as other sections get extended. There's a section of the Clinton River Trail in Pontiac that's going to be rerouted this summer, and other sections are getting added to the total as well. And that's where we are. You knew that. Here's a little outline of the timeline. Right now, we put out an RFP back last summer for design engineering services. We selected HRC as our design engineer. As part of the public outreach, we did an online public survey. We got about 220 responses. In November, we had a public meeting. We had both an in-person, socially distanced meeting with some key stakeholders. And then we also had we had a public meeting online talking about some of the preliminary design elements and some of the challenges that we have. And right now we're at February 2021, the Township Board and the City Council public hearing. That's what we're doing right now to get those grant support resolutions going. Basically, that's just a resolution that you support us asking MDOT and the feds for funds. And Not that we don't want to cut it too close here, but tomorrow is the day when the applications are due. So nothing like waiting to the last minute. Hopefully, we're hoping that if we get our app in tomorrow, we will hear by July 21st if we've gotten the grant. And then if all that falls into place, then we would start construction early 2022. And my goal and my hope is that we can get it all wrapped up in 1 year. A little more information about the TAP grant. As you can see there, I won't go through everything there. Kind of already talked about that kind of stuff. Invoices would actually start to come in summer of 2022. We currently have about $1,050,000 approved for design engineering, trail amenities and signage, matching CAP grant funds, and construction engineering. The big bulk of that is from the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation, who has been a fantastic partner for us. They're committed to trails and advocacy for trails all over Southeast Michigan and Western New York State. We couldn't be happier to have them on board with us. A little overview of the project team. Again, our financial partner is the Community Foundation of Greater Rochester. They actually administer the funds that we get from the foundation. But there you can see the council and everybody else who is going to be working on the project. We do have some design challenges that we have. As Kristen likes to say, all the easy stuff has been done. So we have some challenges here that we have to deal with. Specifically, we got some high traffic volumes, high speed limits, a lot of truck traffic, driveways to cross. We got to cross Norton Creek. That's going to have a culvert replacement in the next year as well. Crossing the railroad and getting a nice route through and to downtown Wixom. We did already get approval from the Road Commission of Oakland County to put a hawk light in at Wixom Road there at the where the current trail ends. We're going to go right across and cross Wixom Road at that point. We also work with Wixom Elementary School. There was an existing non-signalized crosswalk crossing in front of the school, which they don't use very much because it's not signalized. So we talked with them and they agreed that they would like to have a crossing at the trail, and they supported the enhanced safety measures that would come with a hawk at that light. And so that's the big plan in our we're moving ahead with that one to get that done there. So here's a few of the challenges. We're crossing the railroad on this corner here. It's kind of a weird crossing because we've got to, and since we are going to enhance the crossing, we've got to add some key pedestrian control figures there. So we've got to either put in a maze or have a mechanical arm go down, something to get people to stop, get off their bike, walk their bike across the tracks. That's one challenge. We've got the Pontiac Trail right away. We are also a challenge there. A lot of power poles and lines and things like that, and some trees. Obviously, this is where the trail will go along Pontiac Trail for a ways until we get to Corex, and then it'll go up north through that Corex right away. And this is some of the sections that are a little thicker than most in the right of way right now that will soon be a lovely trail. Just wanted to show you the contributions by stakeholder real quick here. This is the chunk of the construction that the cost estimate that's going to be we're applying for the TAP grant. And then there's the chunk from the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation Jr. or Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation. We also have $150,000 that's been approved through the DNR through their recreational trails program. There's Milford's chunk, and that's Wixom's chunk, and that's about 12%. So you can see all the others there. So that's what we're looking at. It's a pretty good investment for if you're looking at pennies on the dollar. So. And then this is, you've probably already seen this, but just if anybody hasn't seen it, that's the concept for the route through downtown Wixom, taking the existing on-street parking and turning that into the trail, putting the trail right in front of businesses and making Wixom a real good example of what's known in the business as a trail town, a place where people will ride their bike past, but they'll also stop. They'll get off. They'll put their bike in a rack and they'll go to Drafting Table. They'll go to Trails Edge. They'll go to Jets. They'll go to the whatever. We want people to not only to get to know Wixom, but to also get to know Wixom better and stop and smell the roses a little bit. That's it. That's all I got. I just some questions there, and I will stop showing my screen. And if anybody has any questions, I would be happy to answer them. And Kristen can answer them as well. So she's the one who's been working night and day on this application for the grant, and I can't emphasize how valuable she is to the whole process. She's been fantastic. So she's been a great asset for us.
Thank you. Councilmember Berman.
Thank you. I just wanted to say I'm in support of this resolution this evening. The only thing, the only part of the presentation that bothered me this evening was the note of a possible hawk light there. I know I attended some of the previous meetings on this. I really think a hawk light that's not timed to Wixom and Pontiac Trail is just going to make our traffic on Wixom Road even worse. I mean, when the light is finally green and then someone is hitting the hawk light, stopping traffic, we're going to take a backup that can be 15, 20 minutes sometimes and make it possibly even longer than that. We really need that crossing light to be timed. So when the light is red at Pontiac Trail, that would also be the time that people could cross the street. So we're not going to be stopping traffic for the trail at the exact same time that we're trying to get some of the car flow through Pontiac Trail.
Yeah, I know that we will be we'll be looking at that with our design engineers. The hawk option was the best option that we could come up with in terms of what the road commission would approve. The other option would be a rapid rectangular flashing beacon. I'm just not as comfortable with that in terms of from a safety perspective. Even though folks in the area are getting used to the RRFB and they understand how they work, it's in terms of getting people across safely, especially school kids. I like having the hawk signal there, but our design engineers will be looking at it too.
I guess
as will the Road Commission of Oakland County. So
I guess it really comes down to if that's even an appropriate spot for the crossing to be. If we can't have it timed with the rest of the traffic, maybe the crossing needs to be moved down to Pontiac Trail and Wixom Road. I know that's not ideal, but if you just have unexplained stopping, Wixom Road's really bad in the morning, is really bad in the afternoon, and if it's just the hawk light making it worse, there's going to be car accidents, there's going to be people hit, and I think that's a really the way I would envision it is there'd be a stoplight at the crossing, and when it's red at Pontiac Trail, it's red at the crossing, and there's a walk arrow, and the traffic on the trail crosses when it's green for Pontiac Trail. And if people on the trail have to stop and people on the street have to stop at that time, it's not going to make traffic worse. So.
Yep, and I believe that the Road Commission has made some changes to the hawk signal at Pontiac Trail on the trail right now in Walled Lake, because that's also a similar situation where you're very close to where Maple crosses Pontiac Trail there.
Mr. Mayor, can I just add something to that? I believe, at least from my observation, John, is that the SPAT tie-in with the one on Pontiac Trail, it's very closely timed with Maple Road's civilization. So the SPAT is tied in, I believe.
Yep. Sometimes I know that because sometimes you push that button and you wait a good 30, 40 seconds before the signal changes, and sometimes it changes in 10 or 15 seconds. So there's definitely some extra timing going on there.
Very good. All set, Councilmember Berman?
Yep, that would be my only concern with this project in general, is making traffic worse.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Resnick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and John and Kristen, thank you so much. I think I'm also very much in support of this. As we saw through COVID, the use of that trail, it was phenomenal. I was so shocked from the time the snow melted in March of how much it was getting used, and it wasn't even completed then, right? But the in addition to the comments on the spat timing, I'm very sure that it is actually tied in, because I've seen those differences when I cross it as well on my bike. But one of the things, Kristen, I would like us to look into as well with RCOC, if possible, is maybe slowing that traffic down on westbound Pontiac Trail, because what typically happens today is when the light turns green at Wixom Road, trucks, semis, cars, everything else, they're ramping up to 50 miles an hour by the time they hit Old Wixom Road. And if we could extend the 25 speed limit to the point where the trail cuts north at Corex, I think that would be a great addition as well. I mean, the pinch down of the road will help a little bit, but I think a speed limit change at some point would be necessary as well. So if we could look into that.
Yep, and I'm, hello everyone, and for those that don't know me, I'm with Oakland County Economic Development. I'm Kristen Wilting. So we do need to be careful when we talk about speed studies, and hopefully with some of the changes that we're making in front of country corners, that'll act as traffic calming. So if we can implement some of those and then maybe address some of the traffic study issues, because if you do a traffic study, speed limits could go up. That's the danger of it. So if we can implement some of those traffic calming devices, and then hopefully slow things down, and then maybe revisit that item, we can certainly look at that with the state police and also the road commission.
At least move the sign down about another 100 yards west.
Councilmember Smiley.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. I like this this discussion and talk. So this isn't a complaint, but I just want to make sure none of that has to do with what we're voting on right now. We're voting on the grant application, right? Okay, not a complaint though. I like, those are great suggestions by both Deputy Mayor Resnick and Councilman Berman. But I have a question about the application itself. So yeah, Wixom's portion of, for completion of phase 2 is roughly, I know it's not a firm number, 413,000. And that's if we get a, if this TAP grant comes through the way we hope to, right? And if we don't get it, is that a realistic possibility? And how does that change, what we're going to do for phase 2?
I refuse to think about it. So.
Yeah, I'll let Kristen answer that question.
Make sure I understood the circumstances.
So I guess let me take a step back and just talk about the local community match. So there's participating funds, and then there's non-participating funds. And so that $413,000 figure, that includes both your participating and non-participating. So participating cost is those directly related to construction. The non-participating costs are things that the grant won't cover. So that includes like permit fees, anything to do with design engineering and construction engineering. Design engineering is typically industry standards about 10% of construction costs, and construction engineering is about 15%. So that's a couple $1,000s worth of non-participating costs that you have to pay 100% of. The grant just won't cover it. Luckily, as John mentioned, we've been able to partner with the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, and they've been very generous at helping us with offsetting some of those costs. If the project is selected, we may have to work with MDOT and SEMCOG to maybe scale it back a little bit. But right now, the big costs that we have, the road commission is still looking at the crossing at Old Plank. They're not quite sure the traffic control device they'd like to see at Old Plank. So right now it's between a hawk beacon and that rapid flashing beacon. And there's about $120,000 difference in cost there. So in our cost estimate, we went on the high side. We factored in the hawk beacon. The other big ticket item is going to be the crossing at the railroad. So if we look at the arm that comes down, that's again significantly more expensive than that pedestrian maze, which is the decorative fencing that really encourages cyclists to dismount their bikes and then walk across the tracks. And so we're still working with the railroad and MDOT on that. But again, in our cost estimate, we went on the high side. So we factored in the cost for the arm. So we could certainly scale back some of the project and get it within range if need be.
Great.
And apply again.
Just one quick thing while I've got your ear. Mr. Hensler, Ms. Wilfink, thank you very much for all you've done so far and what you're continuing to do. It's been a great success, phase one, very popular Hill home run. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Any other council members? Very good. Yes, I'm in support of this too. If we saw this summer, even through COVID, everything like that, that path was very popular with the residents and got people out exercising, and I'm sure that a lot of these bicyclists and stuff would like to continue this path and move on and go further than what our path is now. So with that being said, I've got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to approve the resolution expressing support for the grant application in partnership with the Charter Township of Milford to the Transportation Alternatives Program of the Michigan Department of Transportation for funding of the development of Phase 2 of the Michigan Airline Trail and the Huron Valley Trail. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Batchel.
Yes.
Councilmember Fox.
I think that was Tia.
Yeah, we've lost her on screen here.
I don't see her. That's right.
Notice.
I will keep an eye out for her if she is having trouble technically.
Okay. Councilmember Sharp.
Aye.
Councilmember Smiley.
Yes.
Mayor Beagle.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Resnick.
Aye.
Councilmember Bennett.
Yes.
Okay, that would be 6 yes. Possibly 7.
Okay, very good. All right, Kristen and John, you got your work cut out for you because you got 23 hours to get that grant in. So good luck with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, new business number 3 is a recommendation to amend the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget to reflect the financial activity related to COVID-19 federal grant revenue received and associated vendor and hazard pay expenditures. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Marilyn, are you on?
I am.
All right.
Good evening.
Yours.
This report is a request to amend the fiscal year 2021 budget to reflect the COVID-19 related financial activity that we've experienced so far. The city submitted requests for federal funding related to COVID-19 expenses to the state of Michigan and Oakland County, and we received a total of $591,429, which was to cover various payroll expenditures and vendor expenditures that we had directly with vendors for things like PPE, sanitation, cleaning, protective equipment, modifications to the buildings and things of that nature. The first amendment that's being requested is to modify the capital fund to reflect the incoming grant revenue in an amount of $23,895. And the expenditure piece of the capital fund was actually approved by City Council back in November. for the purchase of laptops and printers. And now we just need to reflect the offsetting revenue that we received in from the submittal of that expense. The second amendment that's requested in this report is to modify the general fund to reflect the incoming grant revenue of $567,534, and also amend the related COVID-19 expense line items, the hazard pay line items for police, fire, and election workers. Some of these expenditures occurred last fiscal year, but because of the timing of entering into these grant agreements, all of the revenue has to be recorded this fiscal year according to the state of Michigan. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Hey, before we move on, any questions? Rob Tia texted me. She's having technical problems and she's trying to reconnect.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any
If-
questions for Marilyn on new business number 3? Very good. Marilyn, did you apply for these grants?
Yes, we did. Well, what had happened is the state of Michigan rolled out a portion of their plan that would cover hazard pay for public safety and also public safety payroll expenditures. So that was a program that we had to submit our application for and then submit all of our expenditures for consideration. And then Oakland County had allocated just over $318,000 to the
Yep.
city of Wixom that was available for, it kind of expanded it that we could use it for payroll expenses along with vendor expenditures, which were not eligible to submit to the state of Michigan.
Very good. Thanks for doing this heads up on that and helping us get that money. Seeing no other questions, I've got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to amend the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget to reflect the financial activity related to COVID-19 federal grant revenue received and associated vendor and hazard pay expenditures. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Sharp,
Aye.
Councilmember Smiley,
Yes.
Mayor Beagle,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Resnick,
Aye.
Councilmember Behrman,
Yes.
Councilmember Gotcha.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. New business number 4 is a recommendation to approve fiscal year 2020-2021 rollover budget amendment in the amount of $105,742 to accurately reflect the expenditures related to the purchase of a swap loader and installation of a slip-on salt unit on a Freightliner truck chassis originally budgeted in fiscal year 2019-2020. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Support.
Or
Thank you. Marilyn, you're up again. I think you're up the rest of the night.
Yep, it's my evening.
Yeah.
So this one is to basically roll forward funds that were actually approved in fiscal year 2019-2020 for the purchase of this vehicle. City Council approved it back towards the end of last fiscal year. And unfortunately, the delivery of the vehicle and the installation of the equipment did not occur until fiscal year 2021. So we now need to reflect the actual price that we paid in this year's budget, which was $105,742. So we would just be bringing that in line to move the actual expense to when it occurred.
All right. Any questions? Seeing none, I've got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to approve the fiscal year 2020-2021 rollover budget amendment in the amount of $105,742 to accurately reflect the expenditures related to the purchase of a swap loader and installation of a slip-on salt unit on a Freightliner truck chassis originally budgeted in fiscal year 2019-2020. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Smiley,
Yes.
Mayor Beagle,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Resnick, Councilmember Behrman,
Yes.
Councilmember Gotcha,
Yes.
Councilmember Sharp,
aye.
six yes.
Thank you. New business number 5 is a recommendation to approve a fiscal year 2020-2021 rollover budget amendment in the amount of $29,998 to accurately reflect the expenditures related to the placement of 4 decorative street lights originally budgeted in the fiscal year 2019-2020. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Go ahead, Marilyn.
Okay, this amendment is similar to the last one. We had ordered 4 replacement decorative lights for Pontiac Trail where the accident occurred early last fiscal year. And although the repair was done previously because we used some stock lights that we had at the DPW, these were coming in to replace those. City Council did approve the purchase of these last fiscal year. They weren't delivered until right around December of this fiscal year, so we need to move that funding to reflect the expense properly this year as opposed to last year.
All right. And again, these are replacements. They're not ones that would have been covered by the insurance from the accident, correct?
Well, actually, the insurance covers, when the accident occurred, we did submit these to the insurance company to be reimbursed for them. So we did receive that funds from MMRMA, but we, at the time, in order to get the lights put in place and not wait until December of this year to put them in, we had some spares down at DPW that were purchased at the time we did the project. So basically, they were paid for by MMRMA, and now they're going to go back into stock to replace the ones that we used.
All right, I guess this would be a question then for City Manager Brown or Public Safety Director Moore. The ones that were damaged, are we going to get reimbursed from the driver of the vehicle who did the damage? Are we getting anything from them?
Mayor, I will check tomorrow with the court to see what the status is of that case. The last I knew, we held a warrant for her arrest for the charges, reckless driving, leaving the scene of a motor vehicle collision without identifying yourself. But I will check to see where that case is in the criminal court to see about fines, costs, and restitution.
Okay, very good. 'Cause we need to go after everything that we can on that one. Any questions on this, on new business number 5? Thank you, Public Safety Director Moore. I have no questions, so I've got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to approve a fiscal year 2020-2021 rollover budget amendment in the amount of $29,998 to accurately reflect expenditures related to the replacement of 4 decorative street lights originally budgeted in fiscal year 2019-2020. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Beagle?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Resnick?
Aye.
Councilmember Merriman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mitchell?
Yes.
Councilmember Fox?
Yes.
Councilmember Sharp?
Aye.
Councilmember Smiley?
Sorry, yes.
7 yes.
Thank you. Last item under new business number 6 is an approval of a fiscal year 2020-2021 rollover budget amendment in the amount of $738,917 to accurately reflect the remainder of the expenditures related to the Beck Road Major Road Improvement Program project originally budgeted in fiscal year 2019-2020. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Support.
Marilyn?
Okay, this is same as the prior two, that we had a project that was originally approved in fiscal year 1920 for the repaving of Beck Road between Potter and Pontiac Trail. The portion that actually there was a portion that was done in fiscal year 1920, but the final portion of the project was not completed until fiscal year 2021. And the amount related to that was $738,917. And that is what I'm asking to be amended to reflect those expenditures appropriately.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, I've got a motion and a second to approve a fiscal year 2020, 2021 rollover budget amendment in the amount of $738,917 to accurately reflect the remainder of the expenditures related to the Beck Road Major Improvement Program project originally budgeted in fiscal year 2019, 2020. Roll call vote, please.
Aye.
Councilmember Merriman,
Yes.
Councilmember Gatchel,
Yes.
Councilmember Brindley Fox,
Yes.
Councilmember Sharp,
Aye.
Councilmember Smiley,
Yes.
Mayor Beagle,
Yes.
7 yes.
Thank you. That closes new business. We move on to the second call to the public. The rules of the second call to the public are the same as the first, only with the second one, you can speak whatever's on your mind. And again, once connected, you're going to ask to press *9 on your telephone keypad. That'll raise your hand. That'll let us know that you would wish to be called upon, and we will call you. And please introduce your name and address for the record. And you've got 5 minutes. Do we have anybody for the second call to the public?
Yes, phone caller 8728 has raised their hand. Press *6 to unmute yourself and go ahead and address the council.
Hey guys, this is Mike Smith, 1692 Norton Creek. I'm with the Wixom firefighters. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Mike, go ahead.
I just want to call in kind of reference to the last city council meeting. I just want to let you guys know, rest assured that if we don't call in, we are listening. We are watching the meetings. We may not always get to call in and interact with the meetings live, but we do have I'd say almost all of our members do watch the meetings. And last I'd say Wednesday morning, I did get quite a few text messages from our membership, a lot of questions and concerns. And I utilized that to kind of funnel back to them that not giving a counter proposal back to the city probably wasn't in the union's best interest. So we are currently working on a counter proposal that we should submit to the city sometime next week. And we'll continue to get this process moving so we can get this done once and for all. And I must say, I'm kind of excited to hear some of the council members want to get involved in it. And I think maybe that's something that can help us maybe get over the top on some of these issues we're having. So very optimistic. There were a lot of things that irked a lot of our memberships in the meeting, but like I told them, I said, you got to look at a lot of different things. People are looking at things from a lot of different angles, and everybody's just trying to do the right thing and do the best for the community. And I think everyone's mind is in that direction. We all want to do what's best for the community we all live in. So with that said, you guys have a great night, and I just want to let you know we're going to get a proposal to you next week. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. And I know I'm speaking for myself, but I'm looking forward to getting this taken care of once and for all, and fixing those gaps for our citizens. Do we have any other people for the second call to the public, Rob?
No hands are raised at this point. We'll give it just another moment. Another reminder, press *9 on your phone to raise your hand. Press *9 to raise your hand. We'll give it just a moment. No one else has raised their hand.
All right, I'll close the second call to the public. Move on to city manager's comments. City Manager Brown.
I had nothing to add beyond what was in the city manager update. I will say that we had a nice range of service years in our work anniversaries from 2 to up to 30. Congratulations to all of the employees that are listed there with their anniversaries of years of service with the city. We appreciate each of them, and we appreciate all the years of service they've given to the community and to the citizens and to the city government of Wixom. So appreciate that. Wanted to mention that. And I had nothing else that I was going to add, Your Honor.
Very good. Individual council comments. Councilmember Smiley.
I wasn't asking to go first. I was going to say, hey, Steve, you got 30 years, 25 years, and 20 years. You got a name on.
All right, we can do that. Jody Gallo in our DPW at 20 years is celebrating that in March. 25 years, Melissa Harrison in community services, and then Jay Westervelt's in the DPW at 30 years. That
Those
is
are
pretty
great
remarkable
numbers.
stuff.
Very good. Yes. Okay, so now I'll do my regular comments. All right. I just wanted to thank all of the community service groups for their presentations tonight. It's wonderful that we have so many caring and giving organizations in the community and helping our residents the more in need. Other than that, just my condolences on the passing of Jim Bird's grandpa, who I understand was just short of 100 years old. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilmember Granville Fox.
Thank you. First of all, I want to apologize for everyone for my technical difficulties here and that I missed those couple agenda items, but I do want to indicate that that I planned on supporting all of the items that I did miss. I also want to congratulate all those that are celebrating work anniversaries. That's a lot of years between those people. That's amazing. And then I also too wanted to send my condolences to the family of Jim Bird. That's all I had tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Gacho.
Thank you. Just kind of resharing what's already been shared. Thank you to the dedicated service of our staff. I mean, seeing when people have decades with the city, I mean, that's a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, a lot of relationships built with the community, and that is invaluable for the city when it comes to interacting with the public. And I also wanted to share my condolences with the Bird family on their loss recently. Thank you.
Councilmember Gacho, do you want to make a few comments on the conversations we've had about reinstituting the beautification committee?
Sure. So the mayor and I have been speaking about the beautification committee, which is a conversation that probably started a little over a year ago now. And I know we did allocate some funds in the budget process last time. But now we're kind of to the point where spring is hopefully not too far away, and sun and green grass and flowers and all of that fun stuff. So we're looking for interested community members to become a part of the new beautification committee. And if there is anyone out there listening or watching in the future that is interested, the mayor has asked that you just complete the city volunteer questionnaire, which can be found on the website, or feel free to reach out to me by email, or maybe even the mayor, city clerk's office. But everybody can get you a copy of that volunteer form. We would absolutely love to have you be a part of the committee.
Thanks. Looking forward to restarting that up. Councilmember Berman.
I'm not on video.
Just wanted to also echo all of everyone else's comments to our city staff that's as dedicated as they are. The only thing I really wanted to add was thank you to Mike Smith for reaching out to me after the last meeting, and I'm glad that the fire department does listen and watch our meetings. Hopefully we can get this worked out quickly, because I know that's what we all wanted to do during the budget process, and it's exciting to see that it looks like they also want that, and they're going to get us some kind of proposal back. Lastly, I did see also that the fire department just got their new Polaris, and so I was just wondering when we're going to be offered rides on that from Chief Roberts.
Do you really want to ride on that, on the back or in the front seat?
Probably not in the back.
Yeah, we don't want to get it dirty.
Jeff, hold on a second. I'm not even sure they're covered by insurance. Don't even answer that, Jeff.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you. That's all I had.
Councilmember Sharp.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank the airline trail folks, Ms. Wiltfong and Mr. Hensler, for their presentation tonight, and really thoughtful comments by council regarding the crossing of Wixom Road. I think we're going to have to really take a careful look at that and in the future. But I'm looking forward to proceeding with phase 2. Thank you.
You're welcome. Deputy Mayor Resnick?
I just ditto all the comments of my council members, and again, my condolences to the Bird family and the loss of their grandfather. And that's it.
Yep, and my thoughts and prayers go out and condolences to the family of Jim Bird on the passing of Jim and Jared, who's a volunteer in Parks and Rec, grandfather. Thank you to Jay Westerfeld, Melissa Harrison, and Jody Gallo for their dedicated years of service to the city, and to Eric Pawlowski, Andrew Bishop, and Lisa Weiner. We appreciate your support and contributions to the city. And that is a pretty sharp looking Polaris that the fire department has. I'm looking forward to even just stop by the fire station one day and checking that out. It looked pretty sharp. And also, if anybody has anybody who they think would be interested in volunteering on the Parks and Rec Commission, I've got a couple of vacancies on that board right now that are going to be needed to fill in the future. So if anybody's got somebody there, they think that they could help out with the city and the Parks and Rec Committee, either have them contact me or come on in and fill out a volunteer form. You can get it online and fill it out, submit it, and turn it in. And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Support.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Have a good week, everybody.
You
Have a good
too.
night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, y'all.
Thanks, folks.
Thanks, Chiefs.